Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Thursday night YouTube Live. Let's see. I don't think I got that. It's quite a wide screen. I should have tried to fix that, I guess. It doesn't usually make too much difference, it doesn't seem like, but apparently it did today. So we're going to be making a bag and a box, and we're going to be using a few different stamp sets because we're going to make a couple of different boxes. So we're going to be using the Hugs for Love, and this is a stamp and punch bundle. And we're going to use the punch if I can figure out what I did with it. Good grief. Huh. Craziness. It should be right in my shelf, right there. And it is right where it's supposed to be. Okay, so the Hugs for Love and the To the Point label, we're going to be using this bundle. And then we're going to be using Latte Love. And we're going to use this along with the Keeping Tabs punch. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this up and see if I can get into the live chat and see who's on. And let's go ahead and put this back here so you can see those. The Latte Love dies are not available any longer. They've been retired. However, the stamp set is still available. And that's what we're going to be using today. And then I'm going to show you how you can cut out these images without the die set. So let's go ahead. Oh, and see. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Laura. Thanks so much for joining. I'm a little bit discombobulated because we went to the swim meet and ran home, had dinner, and now I'm here. So, all right. Well, I think we're pretty good enough into this. Let's just go ahead and we're going to get started because I'm going to try and make two projects tonight because they're pretty much the same. They're just different sizes. So I want to give you some options. So let's start with a small size. We're going to start with a piece of designer series paper. And this designer series paper is the Marbled Elegance paper. And the one that we're using right now is what we like to call the B side of the paper. All of these prints have foiling on the front, gold foiling, and then what we like to call the B-side prints on the back. And I think I already have these set up, so all I have to do is snap. Okay, so that's what we have. I love this paper, especially, you hate to cover up all the foiling, but sometimes that's just not what you're looking for. Okay, so we're going to use, and here's the last one. We're going to use one front and one back. Let me get these extra pieces out of the way before I lose them and ruin them, because we don't want to do that. Okay, and we're going to start with this piece of designer series paper that is 5.5 by 3.5. Okay, and when you do this, if it's a directional paper like what I have, you have to do this in a specific direction. Okay, so we're going to bring in our scoring tool. We're going to make the bag first. This is a bag in a box. I'm going to take not that one. That's my pokey tool. I'm also going to flip my take your pick tool stylus tip to the larger size. And then what I need to do is I've got a 3.5 inches by 5.5. So I'm going to put this at the 3.5 inch side. And then I'm going to score this at 1.25 inches, okay? And then I'm going to turn this clockwise so that my score is at the top. And I need to make sure I can see that, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score with this at the top right here. This is my score line. I'm going to score down, but only to this score line, okay? I'm not going to score all the way down. It's very important that you do not score all the way down. So we're going to score this at 1.25 to that score line, 2.5, only to the score line, 3.75, only to the score line, and then at 5, only to that score line. And that is all of our scoring, okay? Now, while we're here, I'm going to go ahead so I don't have to bring this back out again, and I'm going to do the scoring on the second size box, okay? So that was the first size box. Again, 3.5 by 5.5. I scored it at 1.25, rotated it clockwise, and then I scored at 1.25, 2.5, 3.75, and 5, only down to that first score line. All right, I'm going to remove that one. And now we're going to move on. I'll show you both of my templates here in a minute. We're going to move on to our larger piece to make our larger box. And this particular piece of designer series paper is 6 inches by 4 inches. Again, we're going to start on the 4-inch side. You decide where you want your pattern to go, because like this one, I have a directional pattern, so I need to make sure that I put my first score on that short side on the pattern so that the pattern is facing up this direction, okay? Because this is going to be the bottom of my box bag. I'm not sure I explained that before. So again, I need to take a look at this. What do I want to be the top? And what do I want to be the bottom? I'm going to go for this, okay? So now I'm going to put this in at the 4-inch side, and this, what I score down here, is going to become the bottom of my box bag. This one I'm scoring at 1 3/8 of an inch. There, okay? And then I'm going to turn that counter or clockwise so that my score line is up closer to the top of my board. And then I'm going to score down at 1 3/8 to that first score line, 2 3/4, 4 1/8, and 5.5. And remember, all those scores are only to the first score line. So again, I put it in with my pattern so that the top is facing to the right, scored at 1 3/8, then rotate to the right, then score at 1 3/8, 2 3/4, 4 1/8, and 5.5. And that is all the scoring there is for the box, okay? Now, because this is designer series paper and it might crack, normally I tell you to fold back. I'm going to have you fold forward first. That way, if the paper is going to crack, it's going to crack on the side I don't want it to crack on, okay? So I'm going to fold on this. Just give that a bit of a burnish, not much, because it is designer series paper. And then I'm going to flip this to the back side because it's easier for me to see. And this is what I want to show you. If it's going to crack when you do it the backwards, it's going to do it here. And on the inside of the box, you don't care. Okay. So we're going to take our paper snips, and I've got the 1/2-inch side here. So I'm going to cut this up on the left side of the score line, remove that score line, and then I'm going to cut off on this score line and remove the score line here. I can throw this piece away. I don't need it. And then on my other 3 score lines, excuse me, let me, I'm gonna roll this down so I can see the chat. Oh, yeah, this paper is beautiful. I love it too. So we're gonna take, and I'm gonna cut to the right and to the left of that score, straight up. Okay, and I'm gonna do that on all of my score lines here, so that I have this tiny little section. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in and snip those off. And by removing that score, then I don't need to angle cut anything. Okay, now let's go ahead and repeat this on our smaller one, because we're going to do it the exact same way. So normally we would fold in, but I'm going to fold this up and then back. And that way, if my paper cracks, it's going to crack on the inside. Then I'm going to flip this over, and I've got my little 1/2-inch tab over here. I'm going to cut to the left of that score line, remove it, and do the same up here and remove that square. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing we did before on each of these score lines. We're going to cut up to the right, up to the left, up to the right, up to the left. And of course, you're only cutting up to the score line. And that's where the box in a bag comes in. Okay. These are super simple to make. They don't take a lot of scoring. And you could do this with a 2, 4, 6, 8 and use an 8.5-inch piece of paper, do 2, 4, 6, 8, and 2. And then you would have what you call a 2, 4, 6, 8 box in a bag. Okay, so now we have this. And this is going to go round like this. Okay. So this is going to be the back of my box, because here's my seam. This is going to be the front, and these are going to be the sides. Okay, so side, side, back, and front. So I'm going to turn this over. First of all, I'm going to pull these two up, because these are going to be my side tabs. I'm going to snip these off to remove a little bit of bulk. Okay. And then we're going to put our tear and tape on. So I'm going to put tear and tape on the side tabs, on the front tab, and I'm on the inside of the box here. This is going to be the outside, this is the inside. And this is where you can really see where that paper cracked a bit. And by doing it the way I did it, if you notice right in here, you've got some white, which is the cracking of the designer series paper, but it cracked on the inside because of the way we folded it. Okay. And then finally, I like to put my tape on this side. You can put it on this side. I like it on this side, and I'll show you why. Okay. So with our tear and tape now, we're going to go from the score line up on the larger section. We don't want tape on that glue tab. Okay, because that's the back of our box, which is going to become the inside of our box, and we don't want our tear and tape on the inside of our box. Okay, so we'll burnish that up extra good. Okay, and let's grab our take your pick tool. I'm going to remove all of these backings. all at once. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, remember my tape is over here. I'm going to bring this round. I'm going to line up those score lines there at the bottom and just with the cut edge together. And then I'm going to make sure that my top lines up here. And as long as I have my score line lined up and my top lined up, it'll all be straight. Okay? So that's what we have right there so far. Now I'm going to go inside my box and give that a good burnish with my bone folder because I'm asking the paper to stay round, which it doesn't want to do. I'm going to make sure I give that a good burnish. Okay, so this is the seam, and so this is the back of our box. So we're going to fold that in first, fold in a side, fold in a side, and now you see why we cut those tabs shorter. And then we're going to fold up the front. And that way we'll have a nice clean front versus the back, okay? So I'm going to take my bone folder in here, and the reason that I put the back of that box in first and those sides in second is so I have a nice clean inside, okay? Now, we're going to stop here, and we're going to do our small one, and I'm going to show you why you might not want to put your tape over here. It is a little bit easier to line up maybe, but I didn't like the look of it. So we're going to go ahead, and again, we're going to fold up the second one from the cut here because this is the front. The last one here, I'm going to cut those off. And it does, you could use this trimmer to make it all neat and tidy, but nobody's going to see those tabs, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, so let's put our tear and tape on here. And then we'll take a look at why I did the tape on the side where I did. I'll show you the difference. I actually think I might have one completed because I did it that way thinking, oh, that was going to be the good way. And then I was like, I don't think I like that so much. Okay, so again, we have our tear tape, the two short tabs, and then the long tab between the two shorts. I'm going to go ahead and put my tear and tape here, but I'll show you. And only to the score line. I'm not going down past the score line. That's very important. Okay. So if I were to put my tape here, when I roll this together like this, and I line those up, my seam runs down the back center of my box, okay? But when I do it the other way, my seam runs on what will be a side, okay? And I just liked the way that looked better. So if you like this look better, then by all means put your tape here, but that was not my preference, okay? I like it here so it shows up on the side of the box rather than, let me see, right here. You can see on this one, it runs down the middle of the box. I didn't really care for that. I preferred the side, okay? But you can do it however, it won't matter. It's all going to be fine. And your recipient probably won't even notice what you did or didn't do. Okay, so let's remove our tape. Let's see. All right, so again, I'm going to take my paper, and you could use a bone a bone folder to give this a little bit of a curve if you wanted. I didn't find it necessary, so I didn't. So I'm going to take and roll this up again. Line up that score line. Once I get it lined up, I'm going to grab that with my finger. And then I'm going to line this up on the top. And once I get it lined up on the top, then I know it's nice and straight. Okay, if I have a nice even edge here. And then I'll give that a good burnish because I don't want that to come undone. I always like to burnish. Okay, now again, seam. So we have the back of our box. We'll fold that in first, fold in the two sides, and then fold in the front. Okay, burnish. Good to go. All right. So to close these boxes, you can do several things. You can close this up like so, right? And then you could punch a couple of holes and put some ribbon through. And that would look like this. Or you can use a tab punch, which is what we're going to do on this one. And I'm going to use the to the point punch on this one. It's just so much easier with the punches. So let's go ahead and get some stamping done so that we can do just that. I'm going to bring in from Latte Love, I'm bringing in the little coffee heart and some early espresso. And I'm just going to stamp that down and let that soak in for a minute. Okay, so I've got that. And then on this little section here, I'm going to do some ink blending with some Melon Mambo. So I've got my blending brush here, my Melon Mambo ink, and I'm just going to blend right here. The cardstock was too dark for what I wanted originally, so I came up with this. So I'm going to do that. And while we have our Melon Mambo ink out, let's go ahead. I'm going to wipe this off. We're done with ink blending for now. And just wipe that off with the chamois that the Glass Mat Studio came with. And then I'm going to get a piece of scrap Melon Mambo, and I'm going to punch with the Keeping Tabs punch. Okay, I'm just going to punch out a punch. And then I'm going to take this tab, okay, and I'm going to take the coffee beans from the Latte Love, and I'm going to ink those up in Melon Mambo. And I'm going to randomly stamp those down. Okay, so that's that. I can set that aside. All right. So for the first bag, we pretty much have our pieces. Let's go ahead and put that together. We're going to bring in a new online exclusive item called the Around It All dies. And I'm going to use the third largest where I ink blended. and I'm going to use, or the third smallest. And then I'm going to use the second smallest to cut out my little latte whipped cream art. So I'm just going to put this in here. It's a tight fit, so you got to get it lined up, and then I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to run this through my machine. Okay, this isn't going to fit through my mini, so hang on for just a second. I'm going to trim this just so I can get it to go through the mini. And actually, let me get that off. And I'll just trim that off, and we can use that for our second piece. Okay, so again, let's line this up. With this one, there's a little point on the second smallest one here, so I'm putting the point at the top. And I slide that down just until I can see the bottom of the heart there. And then with this one, I'm just going to put it in like this. We'll bring in our mini machine. Plate 1 and plate 2. Slide that on. Put another plate 2 on top. And we'll run that through. Okay. So now we have our wonky circle. And we have our whipped cream art. And we're going to put those together. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and fold this over. Oh, you guys, I forgot to stamp my greeting while I was at that. Let's get that done. I needed to get that done and run it through the die cut machine. Sorry about that. Oops. I could have done it all at once. That would have been lovely. But you will know to do it all at once. So let's grab Hi Friend, and this is from Wonderful Thoughts. I'm pulling in a stamp set from the annual catalog. This one's been around for a while. You might have it on hand. It's a sentiment only stamp set, and then it has the dies that cut out the words perfectly for you, so you don't have to fussy cut. And it has some bonus dies here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bonus, 7 bonus die. Well, I think this one actually cuts out a sentiment. Yeah. And I took and I found this that someone else had put out, and I have it in my thing, so I don't have to look very hard. Okay. So I've got Hi Friend. This is actually the easiest die to find because it's one of the tiniest. So I'm just going to take and put this right here. We'll take the Hi Friend. Again, I don't want this to move. So I'm going to just grab that, line that up. They line up just about perfect. Okay. Put that in. And I'm going to run that through. It only takes a second, so we're okay. Whoops. Well, we're not because we didn't do it right. I didn't put it in there right. I got to do it backwards. Well, now you know. Stampin' Up! Machines are good for either left or right, forward or backward. Just roll it whatever direction you like. Okay, so now we've got our Hi Friend. And let's put that die back on the magnet board so that teeny tiny thing doesn't get lost. All right, so we're going to bring back in our bag. We're going to bring in our tab. We're going to decide which one we like the best. Okay, I want this to be the back. So I'm going to take a little bit of tear and tape that I set here. And I'm going to run this just down the bottom edge of the back here. Okay. And then I'm going to give that a good little press. All right. And then on this front piece here, I'm going to take a Velcro dot. That way the recipient doesn't have to rip open my bag and ruin it if they don't want to. Okay, they can take out their little treat and pass it on to the next guy. Pay it forward and show a little bit of kindness. Okay, so we're just going to take this. Now, I like to take the white piece on the Velcro dot and put it on the side that's going to be to the inside, and that's going to be here. I'm going to try and put that right in the center, right at the bottom there. Okay, and I'm going to leave that on. Now, we're going to take this and remove our tear and tape. And then we're going to get our bag. And I'm going to carefully put this on the back of my bag so that this section is just above the top of the bag. You can line it up exactly at the top of the bag. I did that with one of them. They stay closed a little nicer if you line that up, but I wanted a little bit of extra room. Okay, so that's about where I want it. I'm going to give that a good press. Burnish that down. Okay, then I can remove the plastic from my Velcro dot adhesive. And then I'm going to squeeze this together and I'm going to line those tabs up. I'm not going to worry about the bag so much. I'm worried about lining the tab up. Okay, I got mine a little bit off center. It'll be okay. Okay, so now I've got that so my bag is closed. I'm going to gently separate those. And then I'm going to burnish that down so that my tabs don't come off of my paper. Okay, so now I have my closure. Well, let's go ahead and put our treats in. For this one, I took some espresso beans that came in a big box from Trader Joe's, and I poured some into this little square snack bag, and I'm going to pop that into my bag here, like so. And then I'm just going to close that up. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to take my Hi Friend and a mini glue dot, or a mini dimensional. I'm going to put that in the center here. And then this is going to go down here, hopefully in the center. All right. And then we're going to get some of the larger glue dots or dimensionals. I'm going to put one on my latte thing here. I'm going to add this to my blended piece. Flip that over. I'm going to put two in the center because this bag is rounded. I want to put my dimensionals in the center. And then they won't tend to pop off my bag. And then I'm going to add this to my bag. We're almost done with this one. Okay. And we're going to finish this one up with a nice threaded bow. So let's bring in our our bow tire. And let's see what I did with that gold thread. You guys, if you don't have some of this, be sure to snatch it up. I love this stuff. Now, my little thread thing is kind of in a mess because it started falling off the bottom. Oops. Okay, I kind of really do have a mess. I didn't have that big of a mess earlier today. Oh, I've got two pieces tied together now. Oops. Let me straighten that out. Sorry. This was not such a mess this morning. There we go. Got it. Okay. And actually, let me do this. I'm going to wind. Now it's going to come off the top. See? Can't win for losing here. Okay. I've got a little cut here. I'm just going to anchor this in here, and that'll keep everything where it's supposed to be. Well, if it'll anchor in there. There we go. Okay, now I can take this, do a double wrap. I like to take these threads and at least double wrap them. Sometimes I triple wrap just to get a good substantial bow. Okay, so we're going to do that. Cut this off like so, and then we'll set that aside, and we'll bring this out. Grab us a glue dot, and I'm going to set that right on my glue dot. This is my favorite way to do it. And then I take my tweezers and I pinch my glue dot onto the dot, onto the center of that bow so that everything stays neat and tidy. Okay, then we're going to add this to our bag just above our high friend. And to ensure I get that nice and tight, I'm just going to open that up, give it a nice press, and there is our first bag. Okay, got that kind of off center. You know, that's going to bug me, but it's okay. Your recipient's not going to care. Okay, so now let's move to the smaller bag. This one is a little bit simpler to decorate. With this one, what we're going to do is we're going to take our to the point, or wait a minute, Hugs for Love, the Hugs for Love stamp set. And you could use either. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use this one. Now, of course, if you didn't want to make this a Valentine at all, you could use the Bright Border stamp set, put in a happy birthday sentiment or whatever, and you've got a little favor bag for any occasion. I'm going to lay this down on my paper, and I can tell my paper's not going to, this one's not going to be big enough. I didn't leave enough paper. So we're just gonna, when you stamp this, you need to make sure that your points are up and down, because that's how your punch is going, that's the orientation for your punch, okay? So you gotta make sure that the stamp and the punch are in the same orientation. Otherwise, you just have a pain trying to get them lined up. So we're gonna take some Summer Splash. This is one of the in colors that was released in May this year. We're going to ink that up. And we've got that. You always got to make sure you don't get too low here. I might have, because otherwise your punch won't work correctly. And I'm going to have a problem. Okay, so we'll ink that up again. I'm going to flip this. And I'm going to make sure I go up high enough, but not too high. Okay, because if you go too high, then you can't get it in the punch either. So we stamped that just the way we needed to this time. We're going to line that up. Once I get it all lined, I'm going to give it a gentle press, and then I'm going to bring it down and punch all the way. By giving it that gentle press, I made sure that my paper wouldn't move while I was moving my hand down. So now I'm going to take Real Red, and I'm going to take the Happy Valentine's Day sentiment that's from Hugs for Love, and I'm going to ink that up in Real Red, and I'm going to stamp this down here. Okay, that did not stamp like I would like. Let's do it again. Oh, I probably can't do this again. Let's see. You know what? Let's just go with it. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It's handmade, right? So now I need to bring back in my scoring tool. You could just fold this in half if you want to. I'm going to bring it in my scoring tool, and I'm going to put the point, and I'm going to turn this back to the small end. I'm going to put the point of the punch right at the edge of my board and the flat side at the top. That will ensure that everything is lined up correctly, and I'm going to score this at 1 1/8. Okay, 1 1/8 gets you almost perfectly halfway. All right. So now we can just fold this over, bring that down, and voila. Okay, now again, we're going to put this at the back. This time I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to put tear and tape closer to the score. Okay, so I'm going to bring this in, put some tear and tape in there, and then I'm going to put a little tear and tape down here. Okay. My first one I just used seal, and I think that would be fine. It's still holding fine. So you could just run 2 or 3 lines of seal there. And I think it'll stick because it's DSP. Okay, so now we've got that, and we put that on the back. So we're going to pinch this, line that up, pinch it, and try and center that better than I did the first time. Okay, and I'm going to put that right there like so, and then give it a nice burnish. And again, I'm going to take a Velcro dot. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put my little embellishment on because it's easier to do it now. So I've got the heart sequins. And I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to use the small one. And I am going to set that right on the point of that V. I need to center it up a little bit better. Come on. Okay. I'm going to just put that so that that center of that heart fits right in that V. Okay, so we've got that. Now we'll take our Velcro dot. These are 3/8 inch clear thin fasteners. And they come separated, and I put them together. You get 56 in a package of each, of both sides, you know, so that you have 56 pairs when you're done. I like to put them together. Although this one I didn't line up very good. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and line it up a bit better. There we go. Then I'm going to put this just above that point. The center on that is very easy to find. Just put it right above the point. Then we're going to peel off the clear fastener or backing. Pinch that closed. Make sure that that's all good. Press that gently, tear it or pull it apart. Make sure these are nice and secure. Finish that down. Okay, now let's see what fits in here. So we've got some Dove chocolates. And I might want to drop that so that it falls up. Well, it doesn't want to fall up. So there we go. They want to fall upside down for some reason. Okay, so you can get 3. Well, you can if they want to stack right. That would be fabulous. Okay, so you can get 3. Well, maybe not. It might be 2. No, 3 is a little bit much. You can get 2 in there. Okay, so 2 Dove chocolates, and that'll close quite nicely. All right. Let's check out the nuggets. See if I can get that to sit down in there. You could get 2 nuggets. I'm pretty sure you can't get 3. I think that's going to get too tall again. Well, you maybe could get 3 if you put the chocolates in and had it open a little bit more, but two nuggets for sure. It also fits those little Soisa, the Soisa Italian chocolates that I picked up at Home Goods. You can get 2 of those in there and close that up nicely. Okay. And of course you could get a few more Hershey's Kisses. You can get some Hershey's Kisses in here. Let's see if that's, no, I don't have anything in there. This one has the Soisa chocolates. And those 2 have that. I didn't try. But you know what? We've got Hershey's Kisses. Let's see. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and check out how many we can put in here. And then you'll know. Okay, so Hershey's Kisses. 4 easily in the smaller bag. And of course you can get quite a few more in the larger bag. Well, maybe not quite a few more. That would be too many. That would be perfect. Okay, so we have 6 in there. All right. I'm sure you can get more of the Doves. I don't know about Ghirardelli chocolate. You can definitely get 4 Doves in there easy, and probably 1 more. Okay. Anybody want to see anything else? Thanks, guys. I'm so glad you like that little bag. They're so easy to make, and they don't take a lot of effort. It's not a lot of difficult scoring or anything like that. And they do make a nice little bag with a boxy bottom. So hopefully you've found that helpful. I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple of Hershey's Nuggets in here. Not that direction though. They got to go sideways. Why do the chocolates not want to cooperate when you want them to? I ask. They're like, oh no, I want to go lay in there funky. Funky, funky. Okay, there we go. Those are our boxes for today. I hope you like that. Okay, so what do we have going next week? What is next week? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what the date is? I think I'm good for next Tuesday. I don't think I have any problems for Facebook Live, but of course I'll let you know. We're getting toward the end of swim season, and Caleb does have one night. That's a Tuesday night. That's senior night, and I will not be on that night for sure. Senior night will go past. It will last a lot longer, and then I suspect we'll all go out to dinner. So I'm just going to keep that Tuesday open. I'll let you know when it is. I think it's like February. I don't know. Anyway, here are the two templates that I promised you a look at. There they are. This is for the smaller size. And this one finishes up at 1 1/4 on the bottom. And then you have, what did I do with, there it is, right where it belongs. And then it's about 2 1/4 inches tall. Okay, so 1 1/4 square on the bottom and about 2 1/4 inches tall. And this one's 1 3/8 inch square on the bottom and about 2 5/8 inch tall. Yeah, about 2 5/8 inch. Okay. Now you can of course make these all different sizes, but I wanted to stick with these sizes because I wanted to ensure that I could get 6 from a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. So by doing the 4 by 6, I can get 6, and of course this is a little bit smaller, so I can still get 6 out of 12 by 12. So they're very economical to make. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you back here next time. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Be sure to like, share, and like and share and subscribe if you liked what you saw tonight. Good night. Thanks so much.